Storage infrastructure management activities. The key storage infrastructure management activities performed in a data center can be broadly categorized into availability management. The first one is availability management. The second one is capacity management. Third one is performance management. And the fourth one is security management, followed by reporting. So different management activities can be considered with respect to the availability, capacity, performance, security as well as reporting concepts. First we'll consider availability management. A critical task in availability management is establishing a proper guidelines. Establishing a proper guidelines based on defined service levels to ensure availability. Availability management involves availability related issues for components as well as services to ensure that the service levels are met. A key activity in availability management is to provision redundancy at all levels. So it need to provide redundancy at all levels, including the components of the data center, either related to data or even sites. For example, when a server is deployed to support a critical business function, so we'll consider one server is deployed in order to support a critical business function. It requires high availability. So this is generally accomplished by deploying 2 or more host bus adapters, multipathing softwares and server clustering. The server must be connected to the storage array using at least 2 independent fabrics and switches that have built-in redundancy. In addition, the storage arrays should have built-in redundancy for various components and should support local as well as remote replications. So the deployed additional server need to provide some basic functions followed by the data replications. Either it may be remote or else local replication in order to provide the security. The second storage infrastructure management activity is capacity management. The goal of capacity management is to ensure adequate availability of resources based on their service level requirements. So it need to provide large amount of resources based on their service level requirements. Capacity management also involves optimization of capacity or storage capacity based on cost and future needs. Capacity management provides capacity analysis that compares allocated storage to forecasted storage on a regular basis. It also provides trend analysis based on rate of consumption, which must be rationalized against storage acquisition and deployment timetables. So for example, with respect to the storage capacity management, we can consider storage provisioning. So example for capacity management is storage provisioning. So which is an example of capacity management, which involves activities such as creating RAID set as well as LUNs. So the activities we can consider under capacity management may be, we have to create some set of RAID set, that is creating RAID set as well as LUNs, logical unit numbers, and allocating them to the host. How we can allocate those RAID set as well as LUNs to the host. Enforcing capacity for users is another example of capacity management. Provisioning is fixed amount of user restrictions the user from exceeding the allocated capacity. So we can also use some set of technologies like data deduplication and compression have reduced the amount of data to be backed up, thereby reduce the amount of storage capacity to be managed. So if you are having the actual data, if the actual data itself is compressed, the capacity or storage capacity required with respect to backup or replication will be less. So we can make use of data deduplication either source level or at the target level, so that we can reduce the amount of data at the source side, so that we can minimize the amount of storage capacity required at the target while performing either backup or else the replication strategies. So next comes performance management. Performance management. Performance management ensures the optimal operational efficiency of all components. So we have to consider optimal operational efficiency of all the components. The performance analysis is an important activity that helps to identify the performance of storage infrastructure components. So we have to consider the performance of storage infrastructure components. Performance of storage infrastructure components. This analysis provides information on whether a component meets expected performance level or not. So we have to consider individual infrastructure components. So we have to analyze the respective performance of individual components so that we can get the analysis on whether a component meets expected performance levels or not. So we can consider several performance management activities when deploying a new application or server to the existing storage infrastructure. So we'll consider one example. Whenever we need to deploy either a new application or else a server to the existing environment, every component must be validated for adequate performance capabilities as defined by the service levels. For example, to optimize the expected performance levels, activities on the server such as volume configuration, database design or application layout, configurations of multiple HBAs and intelligent multipathing softwares must be fine-tuned. So the entire, whenever if you are adding any additional application server or application or a server, so we have to consider all the parameters, or we have to check the we have to validate for the entire performance of the components, so that we can decide, can we deploy additional application or the server into the existing storage infrastructure. So if you are considering additional, or if you are adding, or if you are deploying a new application or server into the existing infrastructure, it should not harm the actual optimal performance of the entire system. So next comes security management. The key objective of the security management activity is to ensure confidentiality, integrity as well as availability of the data. So confidentiality, integrity as well as availability of information in both virtualized as well as non-virtualized environment. Security management prevents unauthorized access and configuration of storage infrastructure components. For example, while deploying an application or a server, the security management task includes managing an application or server, the security management with respect to the user accounts as well as access policies that authorize users to perform role-based activities. So we can adopt some concepts like zoning in order to restrict unauthorized access or unauthorized access of the data. The security management tasks in SAN environment include the zoning concepts in order to restrict an unauthorized HBA from accessing specific storage array ports. So next is reporting. Reporting on storage infrastructure involves keeping track and gathering information from various components and processes. This information is compiled to generate reports for trend analysis, capacity planning, chargeback and performance. So frequently we need to generate the reports depending upon the capacity planning, chargeback as well as performance. The capacity planning report contains current and historic information about the utilization of storage, file system, database, table space, ports and so on. Configurations and asset management reports includes details about device allocation, local or remote replication strategies, fabric configurations, etc. These reports also list all the equipments with details such as their purchase date, lease status and other maintenance reports. Chargeback reports contains information about the allocations or utilizations of storage infrastructure components by various departments or user groups. Performance reports provides details about the performance of various storage infrastructure components. So next we'll consider storage infrastructure management in a virtualized environment. Virtualization technology has changed the complexity of storage infrastructure management. So storage virtualization has enabled dynamic migration of data and extension of storage volumes. So the storage virtualization which enabled the dynamic migration of data as well as extension of storage volumes. Due to dynamic extension, storage volumes can be expanded non-disruptively to meet both capacity as well as performance. So if you are considering virtualized environment in order to store the data so that we can expand the storage capacity in order to meet the actual requirements, because virtualization breaks the bond between the storage volume presented to the host as well as its physical storage. So the virtualization actually it breaks the bond between the storage volume presented to the host as well as the actual storage capacity. So the data can be migrated both within as well as across data centers without any downtime. So we can say that always the system will be available, or else like we can say that system or data center will be available 24/7, so that we can have the concept of data migration both within as well as across the data centers without causing any downtime. So this has made the administrator's task easier while reconfiguring the physical environment. So we can say that administrator can easily reconfigure the entire data center without considering the physical environment. So next we'll consider virtual storage provisioning. Virtual storage provisioning is another tool that has changed the infrastructure management cost as well as complexity scenario. In conventional provisioning, storage capacity is provisioned upfront in anticipation of future growth. Virtualization has also contributed to network management efficiency. So we can have two different strategies like vSAN as well as VLANs, virtual SAN as well as virtual LANs, made the administrator's job easier by isolating different networks logically using management tools rather than physically separating them. So we are not separating physically, but we are isolating the different networks logically. So storage management examples. So we'll consider the deployment of new RDBMS server to the existing non-virtualized storage infrastructure. As a part of storage management activity, first the administrator need to install and configure the HBAs as well as device drivers on the server before it is physically connected to the SAN. So now here we can consider the storage allocation task with respect to the storage array, SAN environment as well as server. So first we can consider at the server level. So that is at the server level. So at the server level, a SAN and the storage array for the allocation of storage to a new server is considered. In a virtualized environment, provisioning storage to a VM that runs RDBMS required different administrative tasks. Similar to a non-virtualized environment, a physical connection must be established between the physical server which hosts the VM and the storage array through the SAN. So without virtualization environment, so there must be a physical connection. Between the physical server to the storage via available network. At the SAN level, that is the available network level, a vSAN can be configured to transfer the data between physical server and the storage array. So at the SAN level, we can configure vSAN, virtual SAN, in order to exchange the data between server as well as storage array. The vSAN isolates the storage traffic from any other traffic in the SAN. Further, the administrator can configure using zoning within vSAN. At the storage side, so we can consider vSAN at the network level. So similarly at the storage side. So initially at the storage side, an administrator need to create LUNs. He need to create LUNs from the shared pool. And assign these LUNs to the storage array front-end ports. After that, the LUNs can be assigned assigned to the storage ports. Similar to a physical environment, LUN masking need to be carried out on the storage array. So after that, he can configure the storage, as well as if he want, he can unconfigure the storage by considering LUN masking. So at the physical server side. So now we'll consider at the physical server side. The hypervisor discovers the assigned LUNs. The hypervisor creates a logical volume as well as file systems. The hypervisor, it will create logical volumes, LVs, as well as file systems. So these file system can be converted into VM files. Then the administrator creates a VM and install the operating system as well as RDBMS on the virtual machine. While creating virtual machine, the hypervisor creates a virtual disk file and other virtual machine files in the hypervisor file system. The virtual disk file appears to the virtual machine as a SCSI disk or SCSI disk. Even if it is virtual, so the disk will appear as the SCSI disk, and which is used in order to store RDBMS. Alternatively, the hypervisor enables virtual provisioning to create a thin virtual disk and assigns it to the virtual machine. Hypervisors usually have native multipathing capabilities. Optionally, a third-party multipathing software will be installed on the hypervisor level. So the second example is file system space management. To prevent the file system from running out of space, administrator need to perform tasks to offload the data from the existing file system. This includes deleting unwanted files. So we have to delete some set of unwanted files, deleting unwanted files. Alternatively, an administrator can extend the file system to increase its size. Either he can extend the file system size in order to create huge space while storing the files. The dynamic extension of file system or logical volume depends on the operating system or logical volume manager. So in the example, we can observe that the storage infrastructure management task necessary to create a chargeback report. So in the case of chargeback report, it will consider the configuration of new LUNs. So we can also consider if core file system with volume group or disk group, is there is free space availability in the volume group. If yes, execute the commands. To extend file system. Is the file system being replicated? If yes, perform the task in order to ensure file system replication process. So if the free space available in the volume group, if no, does the server have additional devices available? If no, array have to be configured with LUNs, and if it is not available, go for does the array have unconfigured capacity. So depending upon these factors, we can consider, or we can go for extension of file system, or else we can delete some set of unwanted files. So next is chargeback report. So in the case of chargeback report, a configuration deployed in a storage infrastructure is considered. So we are having three different servers. We are having three different servers with 2 HBAs. We are having three different servers with 2 HBAs, and each connects to the storage array via 2 switches. Switch 1 as well as switch 2. Individual departmental application run on each of the servers. Array replication technology is used to create local or remote replication. The production device is represented as A. The production device is represented as A, and the local replication is B, and remote replication is C. A report documenting the exact amount of storage resources used by each application is created using a chargeback analysis. So we can create one table, table content or table format. We can create the chargeback report. If the unit for billing is based on the amount of raw storage configured for an application used by the department, the exact amount of raw space configured must be reported for each application. So for different application, so we are having two applications are running over here. So the storage capacity is specified in terms of GB along with the raw data. So production storage raw data, that is 200 GB, local it is 100 and 200, remote 125 and 250, and so on. So we can compute the total storage raw space required, as well as we can compute the chargeback cost with respect to the total storage raw material or raw space. So that is how the raw space configuration can be computed for different applications. The report shows the information for two applications, payroll 1 as well as engineering data. The first step to determine the chargeback cost is to correlate the application within the exact amount of raw storage configured for that application. So next is storage management infrastructure challenges. Monitoring and managing today's complex storage infrastructure is challenging. This is due to heterogeneous storage arrays, networks, servers, database as well as applications are used within the environment. For example, heterogeneous storage arrays vary in their capacity, performance as well as their architecture. Each of the components in the data center typically comes with vendor specific tools for management. An environment with multiple tools makes understanding the overall status of the environment changing because the tools may not be interoperable. Ideally, management tools should correlate information from all components in one place. Such tools provide an end-to-end view of the environment and a quicker root cause analysis for faster resolution to alerts.